And we're back. I just want to pick up where we left off from. We were reading a brochure from the Arad National Park, right? In the city of Arad in Negev, Israel, right? So I'm on it says Arad in the Bible and Egyptian sources. So this is what the archaeologists put in this brochure when you go to visit this site, right? So it says when the Canaanite, the king of Arad, who dwelt in the Negev, heard that Israel was coming by the way of Atharim, he fought against Israel and took some of them captive. Numbers 21:1, and we're going to read that real fast. It's already highlighted. And when King Arad the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south, heard tell that Israel came by the way of the spies, then he fought against Israel and took some of them prisoners. Right? So that's just a little historical content. Get us back to where we were. Let's read on. The king of Arad appears in the list of Canaanite kings vanquished. I like that. We vanquished them Canaanite kings by Joshua the son of Nun during the conquest of the land of Israel in Joshua 12 and 14. An account is also given of the Kenite tribe which settled in Arad, as is stated, and the descendants of the Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, went up with the people of Judah from the city of the palms into the wilderness of Judah, which lies in the Negev near Arad. We got to read that scripture. That's very, very important scripture. Let's go to Judges 1 and 16. That's a very, very important scripture. Judges 1 and 16. Okay. And the children of Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, went up out of the city of palm trees with the children of Judah into the wilderness of Judah, which lieth in the south of Arad. And they went and dwelt among the people. So when you look at this, I'm going to show a larger map later on so that you can understand where Arad is, where the wilderness of Judah is, because they just done lied to us so much, it's ridiculous. But I'm going to try to find for you this picture of, I got so many crazy pictures in here. Getting close, I can feel it. White man, white Moses, pearly white. Okay, Negro babies, my family and my in-laws. Okay, we're almost there. All right. Right? So, the reason why I'm reading this scripture is important because this city is inhabited by Moses' father-in-law Jethro, by his descendants to this day. Matter of fact, there's a forest just north of here called the Forest of Yatir. What is Yatir? That's modern Hebrew for Jethro, right? And this is the land where they inhabited. So that is prophecy that this place is being inhabited by the Kenites who settled there during the Exodus with Joshua. But the most important thing is the city of the palm trees. What is the city of the palm trees? A lot of people don't know this, but this is very, very important. I'm not going to tell you now. I'm going to, in another video, we're going to go over the city of the palm trees in another video. But just know that that city of palm trees is very, very important to understanding this geographical stuff. But I'm going to go back to the brochure. Okay, so where we at? Right here. In an inscription uncovered in the city of Karnak, Egypt, Arad appears in a list of cities subjugated by Pharaoh Shishak, king of Egypt, in the year 925 BC. The locale's ancient name, Tel Arad, has been preserved among the Arabs to this day. Those Arabs are the Midianites. We know in the book of Jubilees, Arab. First of all, Arab is a Hebrew word, Arad, which just means mixed. So mixed with what? Well, Abraham mixed with the Egyptian woman to form Ishmaelites. So that's Hebrew and Egyptian, right? And then the Midianites mixed with the Ishmaelites, and the Midianites was Canaan and Abraham as well. So you got the Midianites mixing with the Ishmaelites to combine to form the race called Arabs, like it says in the book of Jubilees. I don't remember what chapter, but look it up on your own time. Anyway, um, so the Ishmaelites and the Midianites are what we call Arabs today. And in the year 925, we know that's around the time of Asa, the grandson of Rehoboam, the great grandson of Solomon. Asa and Jehoshaphat in that time frame. And we know um, the Pharaoh in Egypt wasn't running nothing in those days, but they were trying to. But we had some wars during the time of Jehoshaphat, if I'm not mistaken. We got to read about those in another time. But let's moving right along. Um, Canaanite Arad, right? Ancient Arad was uncovered in archaeological excavations started in 1962. I said that earlier. That's a hard word for Negroes to say. But anyway, under the joint direction of Ruth Amiron, Yohanan Aroni, excavations of the Canaanite city were carried out intermittently from the 60s throughout the 80s under the direction of Amiron, while Aroni concentrated his efforts on the excavation of the Israelite fortresses from 63 to 67. The Canaanite city was erected on an area rising 130 feet above its surroundings, commanding the eastern Negev plains, adjacent to a major trade route leading to the Sinai and Transjordan. At the end of the 4th millennium BC, that's Persian Empire, right? The site consisted of a small village, which by the beginning of the 3rd millennium, early Bronze Age, that's like 3000 BC, grew into a planned and fortified city covering an area of 10 hectares. The city was divided into quarters which housed the palace, shrines, residential buildings, and marketplaces. Water supply was provided by the accumulation of surface runoff, which flowed down the streets and drained into a large reservoir situated in a natural topographical depression that's another hard word for Negroes, at the center of the city. A thick-walled structure, which researchers call the water citadel, which means water castle, or water fort, or water stronghold, was erected next to it. The city's inhabitants engaged in agriculture of naturally irrigated land, breeding of sheep and cattle, and trade. And we all know sheep and cattle is the job of shepherds, and it's an abomination unto Ham. So that's a key indicator that these guys that they're referring to at this water citadel or water castle were Israelites. They were shepherds. Arad fostered close ties with the southern Sinai region where copper mines operated. With the increasing use of copper, Arad became the center of trade for copper products, thanks to its location on the desert's edge. Center of trade. So we know that's definitely Jerusalem. Remember, everybody did their trading in Jerusalem. All nations. Remember, in the time of Nehemiah, the Philistines were lodging by the walls, trying to get us to buy and sell on the Sabbath day because Jerusalem was big on trade. Matter of fact, it was the capital in that area for trade. Remember, the Most High smashed Egypt. So there wasn't nothing going on over there, but the same thing that's going on over there. A bunch of sand, bunch of flies, bunch of dirt, and, Rusty Arabs. But anyway, Israelite Arad. Habitation of Arad by the Israelites began in 11th century BCE. That is, 11th century is, the time of Judges, right before Saul was anointed king. On the highest part of the site, a small settlement was built in the form of a courtyard encircled by residential buildings. A fortress was erected on the site apparently during the reign of King Solomon. No, the fort was already there. We took the fort like we just read in 2 Samuel 5 and 2 Chronicles 11. King Solomon in the second half of the 10th century BCE, 4 additional settlement strata were uncovered above the original fortress, reflecting structural changes introduced by various Judean kings. Following their destruction by conquering armies, the fortress, surrounded by a wall 180 feet long and 164 feet wide, contains a unique Judean shrine, water system, residential structures, and storehouses. Discovered inside the fortress were some 200 clay shards bearing ink-inscribed or engraved writings called ostraka and dating from various periods of the Judean kingdom as well as from the period of Persian rule, like we just read in the Bible. So they know exactly what this place is. But for some reason, they can't just come out and tell you guys, we've been lying to y'all. The place that we call Jerusalem ain't Jerusalem. They can't just come out and tell you that because that place makes billions of dollars in tourist revenue every year. So, people will spend billions on a lie and run away from the truth. So they got to keep lying. You know what I mean? The lie feels good. Anyway, where was I? Over 100 of these ostraka were written in Hebrew and some 90 in Aramaic. 2 particularly noteworthy ostraka include one citing the concept of the house of God, the house of Jehovah, and that's in ancient Hebrew, and that was found in the tabernacle. Perhaps a reference to the holy temple in Jerusalem, which that is Jerusalem, but they're trying to say like it's referencing the temple up there in the place that we call Jerusalem. What a coincidence. No, there ain't no coincidences. That place is Jerusalem. And the other mentioning Edom and the king of Judah, in what appears to be a discussion of the Edomite threat faced by Judean military outposts at Arad. The varied written find is of immense importance to the study of the development of Hebrew writing. So they're not firing no modern Hebrew up in there. They ain't finding no Russian, German, Polish dialect talking about what they be saying. Oh man, they be saying some crazy stuff. They ain't finding none of their European writing, which they like to call Hebrew. They finding ancient Hebrew relics. And I'm gonna see if I can show you one that they found. I think I might have one. I think I might have one of the Hebrew relics that they found at the site. Bear with me for 1 second. Okay, here we go. There's the Holy of Holies. There's another better picture of it. Here's the whole tabernacle. There's a city. Let me find some of the ancient Hebrew relics that they found there. And they cannot just come out and tell people the truth. Esau, there is no truth in him. He just don't know it. He's never known the truth. You see, here it is right here. This is one of the ancient Hebrew relics, right? I can't read that right now because I'm on the time schedule, but you see that this was found there. Hoshua Mariel, the watchman, he could read this like Dr. Seuss. But anyway, let's get back to it. Alright. At the destruction of the first temple in 586 BC, that's Nebuchadnezzar, right? The Arad fortress continued to serve as a military transit station during the time of Persian rule. The bulk of the Aramaic ostraka ascribed to the Persian period give lists detailing amounts of food, money, apparently referring to the local garrison needs. During the Hellenistic period, the fortress walls were rehabilitated and fortified, and a fortified tower was constructed at its center. That's the Hellenistic tower